Welcome back. Today on Bushcraft on the Patio, we are going to talk about fires and why you should start fires at home. Don't start fires in your home or at your... Be careful with fire. Fires are an important part of camping or bushcraft or survival. Today I just want to go over some of the basics and some things you can do at home to practice building fires so that you will be better at building fires when you need to get a fire going. So a fire needs three things. It needs a heat source or an ignition source, it needs oxygen, and it needs fuel. So let's talk about those three things. Now, a lot of bushcraft videos and bushcraft guides and bushcraft teachers will talk about learning survival methods of starting fires, using a bow drill or friction methods, using flint and steel, using reflectors, all sorts of survival type methods of starting a fire. But I think more important than learning to start a fire using friction or flint and steel is learning how to get a fire going quickly and then learning some of those other survival methods. See, the thing is, a large percentage of the people who learn those survival methods won't be able to do them in a survival or bushcraft situation if you haven't learned how to build a fire and get a fire going first. My theory of bushcraft or camping is to always have the most efficient ignition source for a fire that you can carry. Lighters are really cheap and they're easy to find and they're easy to carry. Matches are also pretty easy to carry. Large lifeboat type matches work really well even in wet conditions. The next thing your fire needs after an ignition source is oxygen. And that means your fire needs a way to get air. Fire can't burn without oxygen. So this is where the layout of your fire can be important. There's lots of different ways to set up a fire so that it can get adequate oxygen. I like to use that log cabin style of fire. It seems to work very well, but there's different types of fires for different needs if you're cooking on them or using them just for heat. So keep in mind though, your fire needs to be able to get air from somewhere. So you can't just pile everything together so the oxygen can't get to the flames. The third thing that your fire needs is fuel. So the fuel for your fire comes in stages, and you need to collect all of the fuel before you start building your fire. You're going to start with tinder. Tinder is the smallest fuel. That is the stuff that will ignite easily. Tinder can be anything from feather sticks to sawdust, shredded bark, fine steel wool, dryer lint. All sorts of things can be used as tinder. Also a lot of like homemade fire starters or commercial fire starters can be used as tinder. We won't go over fire starters today, but you need that tinder to get your fire started. Next, you're going to have your kindling. Kindling starts with sticks that are very small, about the size of a matchstick, and then it goes up from there. Once you've got all of your fuel laid out for your fire, then you can start building it and getting it set up to start the fire. Now these are things you should practice at home. Not everybody has a fire pit at home. I'm very fortunate to have a large patio and a fire pit where I can practice starting fires easily. But you don't have to actually build a fire, a large fire, to practice starting fires. The most important part is getting that fire started, getting to that little small kindling stage. And you can practice that just sitting on the patio, sitting in your driveway, get a metal trash can lid or a baking tray. You can set your kindling on and start a fire, and you can do that at home, in your backyard, wherever you are safely. You can also go to a park. A lot of parks have those barbecue pits. You might be able to use those to practice starting fires. And just practice getting a fire going. You can practice with some of those other methods like using a ferrocerium rod or your flint and steel. It's a good time to practice those at home rather than practicing those out in the woods. There's a lot of things you can do to improve your fire starting. Some challenges you can do like a one-match fire, string burning. I might do some of those fire challenges. Maybe once the weather dies down a little bit and there's not 40-mile-an-hour winds. Maybe I'll do like the one stick fire or one match fire or something and time myself on those. I encourage you to practice building a fire safely at home before you have to rely on that fire for heat or food or survival out in the woods. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all, and I will see you next time.